Hey guys, welcome to the first edition of the Detour podcast for 2021. Jeez, it feels good to say that. I'm your host, Dan Jones. I'm joined, as always, by four-time national road champion, Johnny Trevorrow. Johnny, we're kicking this year off with a pretty big guest, mate.
We certainly are, Dan, and Happy New Year to all our millions of followers, thousands, hundreds, whatever there is. I'm excited. We're about to talk the season 2021. I'm flying into Adelaide tomorrow to have a look at the Tour Down Under, whatever it's, a Santos Cycling Festival, as it's called this year, starting on Thursday. So I'm ready to go. I'm just looking forward to getting to a bike race. But of course, we have a super guest today. So we're going to be talking mainly about the relaunch of Green Edge, which is now Team BikeExchange, which is really exciting. I love their new kit and the Bianchi bike. Oh, fantastic. And of course, their star rider, Grand Tour winner already, and I reckon he'll win another one this year, or an Olympic gold medal, one or the other. Simon Yates, a real star. So, as I love to say, I helped him on his way when he rode the Bay Quits when he was a youngster. So I thought I'd get that in. But let's welcome you on. Welcome on board, mate.
You started 2021 hot, talking about yourself as always. But it's not about you, John. It's about our guest, and that's Simon Yates, who joins us live now from the training camp in Spain. Yatesy, how are you travelling, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. A lot of hard work at the minute, but all good so far. Looking forward to start.
Mate, it's been a whirlwind 2020 to say the least. You had a bit of a roller coaster yourself. How are you feeling physically on the back of 2020?
Yeah, so of course, like you say, it was just a big mess there towards the end of the season for me last year. And normally, so I'm struggling just a bit to sort of regain the fitness, because normally I would start, I finished with the bike. I would normally start to run, and I really enjoy running in the off season. Nothing too extreme. I mean, 5-10K, but just keeping fit. And of course, I left the Giro there. Had to do 2 weeks in isolation in a small apartment. So run season was ruined, and I'm paying for it a bit now. But slowly but surely, we'll keep plugging away, and I think we'll get there eventually.
Just while we're talking about that, let's just go back, because you had great form. You're equal favourite, I would say, for the Giro. Torino was brilliant. When did you start to feel that something wasn't quite right?
I mean, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say, because I did a great prologue, good numbers there, and felt great on the bike. Already the next day was like a small little kicker, like maybe 2 or 3K. I think Ulisi won the stage, and I had some really high heart rates there, like some of the highest of the year for 5 and 10 minutes. So something just didn't really, it didn't look right. But I still felt okay. I didn't feel like my heart rate was really high or anything. And then the next day was already Etna. So I already lost time there, and at the time, I thought it was just the conditions. It was really humid and quite sticky hot down there in Sicily for the first few days, and I've struggled in those conditions before, and so I just thought it was that. Really, I didn't really think anything of it.
Okay, so you guys, Dan.
No, I was just going to say, like, for us watching it on TV, we knew, hey, something isn't right. But take us through, like, those days when you clearly, like, something's going on here. And then when you actually found out, holy shit, this is COVID, like, what were those couple of days like?
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't have any other symptoms or anything like that. I didn't have any difficulty breathing. I didn't have a fever, nothing. So, from the doctor's point of view, those guys, they were convinced it was just having a bad day, or it was the conditions. And then, I mean, it was hard for me, because I knew, I felt great before I arrived. And like I said before, I did a great prologue. I just couldn't work out what was wrong. And to be honest, so eventually I had a bit of a headache, and the doctor said, okay, let's get a test. Let's get a rapid test just to see, put the mind at rest. and of course actually had the opposite effect. That came back positive. So in that moment, right then and there, it was actually a little bit of relief that I knew there was something wrong, because I couldn't pinpoint it myself. And that was it really. Yeah, then I was in an ambulance for 10 hours the next day, so it all moved fast from there.
And just continuing on with that, so you said you never got really, as we'd say, crook or sick with it. What did happen after? How much did it get you? How much did it affect you?
Oh no, I was sick, but it wasn't anything too extreme or anything. So immediately the day after, or that evening when I got the test, obviously I had to really separate from the team. Had to eat the evening meal alone in my room. Then in the morning, I was picked up with by an ambulance. I was transported from, because we were really in the south of Italy then at that point as well. So we had to drive with an ambulance to Varese, near our service course. And we managed to arrange a small apartment for me there, just to do the isolation. And then the team could also look after me while I was doing that. And then, yeah, like I said, I was sick. Maybe not that day, maybe a few days later, maybe the fourth day from the positive test. I was, I had normal, it felt like a cold or something, like I had the fever and I was coughing a bit. But then already maybe 1 week later, I was feeling better. But yeah, we didn't take a test for another 10 days or so, just to make sure that the virus had really passed, and that we were hopeful of having another negative test then.
The genuine sort of worry periods, given the unknown of COVID, like when you were getting sick, were you sort of having grave concerns as a shit, how bad is this going to get?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like I was saying before, just briefly mentioned it about run season, not being able to run. When I did start the bike again, oh, Jesus Christ, I was just so unfit. And I thought, straight away your mind is like, oh, this is like long COVID or whatever they're calling it. That was the first thought, but slowly I've been regaining the fitness. Maybe about a month ago now, or even more now. We went back to Italy, back to Turin with the team. We did some really extensive testing on the heart, the lungs, the whole body actually while we were there, and everything came out perfect. No damage whatsoever. So it's, like I say, it was just a case of being really unfit.
I know how that goes, mate. So I was going to say, I saw some great photos of you in the new kit. How are you finding the Bianchi bike? I love it. I love the look of it. How are you finding it?
Yeah, it looks great. It's definitely fast. It's probably a little heavier than I'm used to, but I've not been able to jump on the new one yet. This is like the more aero bike. This is the Ultra. So this is more like the sprint oriented bike. Those guys will use that. And I'm looking forward to jumping on the Specialisma, which is more like the climbing focus bike. So I'm waiting for that. That's arriving, I think, at the end of the month. And that one's on the weight limit. That one's bang on the weight limit, which I love. Especially with the disc brakes. So we'll see. Yeah, but so far so good. I mean, the rest of the equipment hasn't changed so much. We're back on physique saddles, which I've used in the past, which I really love. And that's about it. Yeah, it's been going good so far.
I obviously don't ride Yatesy. It's weird. You look at me and you think, I do 200 Ks a week. But how much of a difference does the feel of a new bike make, like mentally? Obviously, you used to riding Scots for so long, but how much of that plays a part in your performance?
Oh, massive. I think also I'm very quite I really look into the details of the bike as well. I like to tinker with it. I like to really make sure it's exactly the weight limit. We buy some specialist parts if we need to bring it down to the weight limit. And I think, that for me, that's part of the job, to really make sure the bike's working as well. Because, I mean, for most of the year, we're on these, like, not I wouldn't say strict diets, but, we really look after our health, and we want to be as light as possible. And then if you have a bike that's just a couple of kilos too heavy or whatever, then it's just really frustrating for me that I put so much work in, and then you get on your bike, and it doesn't work the way you want it to. I mean, it's the same for anybody else. I mean, you work in an office and your computer doesn't work, or your headphones don't connect to the Bluetooth. It's just frustrating if you've put the work in before. So yeah, no, it's definitely important.
So the new one that's coming is back spot on the weight limit. So all your wishes will be granted once you get that one, mate.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to do anything. And like I said, that'll arrive at the end of the month, just in time for racing. The geometries of the bikes are the same also, which makes it really easy to swap between the two, which I think I will do quite a lot during the season. Like a flat day, I'll use the sprint and aero bike with the bigger wheels, and then the climb stages, I'll use the climber bike with the more shallow wheels, just to be a bit more responsive.
Getting back to 2020 and the results, I mean, from a spectator's point of view, everyone was raving about the season, and it was some fantastic results. I mean, looking at the Giro again, guys like Lucas Hamilton, there was a lot of talk of how deep he could have gone into the race. Do you look at how the race panned out and sort of part of your brain going, oh man, the what ifs if you were there and you're racing, and even for guys like that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, for me personally, and you look at Teo, the guy who won. I mean, he's been touted as a Grand Tour winner for a long time now. I mean, I remember hearing about him as a junior already, that he was going to be a great rider. So it's not a surprise for me to see. I mean, at the end of the day, he came to work for Geraint Thomas. So he was a domestique, but it's not a surprise for me to see him win. But yeah, like you say about Hamilton. For me, on this team now, he's going to have to step up as well. But I really believe in him. I think he's a huge talent, great guy as well. I mean, from a numbers point of view, for sure he's got the legs. And I think if he gets some luck, some other small things fall in place, a bit more freedom, for sure he'll be there or thereabouts. I mean, like I said, going back to his numbers, I think he has the numbers to win. Which I mean, that's most of it at the end of the day. If you get some good luck here and there, no punches, no crashes or anything like this, I mean, the rest will fall into place.
We've chatted to a few guys on the potty over the journey, and how much are teams now catching on to the importance of chemistry? I mean, it was one of the trademarks of the Orica Green Edge guys in the early days, that camaraderie and so forth. And you're seeing these results where guys are riding out of their skins because they've got that chemistry in the team. I mean, how important is that for you guys going into 2021?
Incredibly important. I mean, to be honest, mate, it's not changed since you left the team here. I mean, we still have that same mentality. We still look after each other. It's really one of the reasons that
I thought it improved once Dan left, actually. But anyway, maybe I was wrong.
I was going to say your haircut's not as crisp outside of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Funny enough, I'm looking for a barber at the minute. Yeah, because of COVID, there's no one open, so I needed a bit of a boss job there from you.
That's it, mate. You get what you pay for. But I mean, that's obviously, as you said, going to continue in 2021. And you're obviously at that point in your career where you're not the young pup anymore. You're taking on a leadership role. You're going to have a bit of a say in that chemistry as well.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, not just the chemistry, but I think also just I've noticed at this training camp here, a lot of the young guys they come to me for advice, and it's like sometimes a bit taken aback because I still feel quite young. I still feel like I still got time to grow or whatever. But of course, happy to share my experiences with those guys and hope I can pass on some good knowledge.
And we've got Bling back in the team as well. A bit of Bling, so that'll be a bit of fun.
Yeah, some old school vibes coming back here, I think. But no, happy to have him back. Great guy, but I think he gives us so many different chances in different places. I mean, I remember when he was back on the team. One year he was just doing training camps all year. His first race was Paris-Nice. He came out and won the prologue. I mean, he's just one of those guys who could just really step into anything and perform. And I really love working with him. He's a great guy, like I said, and happy to have him back.
You're chatting before about the young guys trying to pick your brain for advice. I mean, what are the key tips you sort of can pass on to these younger guys that are wanting, to further their careers?
Well, I think one thing that I really believe in, which is something quite small, is just to remain calm for everything. Because I mean, a lot of these young guys are so ambitious. They want to do everything. They want to race every race. I mean, I was the same. I wanted to race every race. I wanted to try and win every race. And just like, especially now these training camps here, we're doing really long hours at the minute here. We're doing 6, 7, 8 hours every day. And these guys, we set off, and it's just, on the pedals. These guys, they want to impress. They want to show themselves, and you just got to stay calm. Like, this is not another team where maybe you gain selection for a race because you're strong in a training camp. I mean, we only think about the races here. We're working towards the races. Stay calm. You don't need to show yourself and go and do an extra half an hour, or you don't need to do an extra effort just to try and show yourself. Stay calm, do your work, and things will arrive in the way you need it to. We have great staff here. The sports scientists know exactly what they're doing. I mean, there's no reason to be stressed or to panic. Stay calm, and let's see how it goes.
And so what's your first race coming up? You said you got a couple of weeks. So what is your first hit out?
So I'll start down here. We're in Valencia area now. I'll start here in Valencia, the race, which I've done before. Great race to start. Hard, because a lot of guys, they turn up from the training camps, they're fit, they're ready. A lot of the guys are getting ready for like the classics and those sort of races, which are a bit earlier than my goals. So it's always tough. And then from there, I'll do Torino.
How are things shaping for 2021? Given we're still in the middle of this pandemic, is there still uncertainty as to when things will actually kick off, or are they confident with the protocols? Particularly, we talked a lot about they got it right at the Vuelta. Are they confident that things are going to run as planned?
I think everyone's very aware, at least the teams and the races. I mean, there's some things you can't control, which is obviously what happened at the Giro. Not to keep going back to that, but I mean, we had very very secure bubble there, and somehow still managed to catch this virus. So it's always going to be difficult. I think we gotta pray at the minute, because a lot of the other Spanish races are also being cancelled. I think Mallorca's been cancelled, Murcia has been cancelled, and maybe also the Algarve in Portugal has been cancelled. So these are all races that are always like the season openers. And at the minute, Valencia is the only one who's not. So fingers crossed. Really, we need to do everything together. We really need to work together to try and stay safe here, and we'll see.
Now, it's going to be a very different year for this year, because your twin brother, Adam, has deserted us, gone to Ineos. But, that's something you two have gone, all your years together at Green Edge. It must be a different, not having him to bounce things off and talk to about with.
Yeah, I mean, especially like training camps like here, he would always normally be here with me. But actually, until this training camp here with the team, it's actually been quite normal, but quite similar. Of course, we've been riding different bikes or whatever, different kit. But we've been training together back in Andorra for a long time, and then we went to do a small 2-week training camp in Gran Canaria earlier in December. That was. So actually, until this point, we've actually been together quite a lot and still training together, still doing a lot of the same work. It's been fine, but now it's really starting to sink in that he's not going to be here.
So what about when you get into that situation in a race where where it's on the line and you two are actually racing against each other, which you haven't really done ever since you've been pros? How do you reckon that'll go down?
Oh, I mean, from a professional point of view, I think it's not a problem. I mean, we're both racers, we both want to win, and I think it'll just come down to the legs. We've been joking about it for a while now, since he's made the decision to leave. We're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to going mano a mano for on a climb. It's going to be a different experience for sure. And I think they're going to be good for the fans. I reckon it'll be enjoyable to watch.
Yatesy, given how hard 2020 was, how is the general state of the team coming into the training camp? You know, the season was shifted to the back end of the year. There wasn't as much of a sort of off season. How are the guys holding up on the back of last year?
Oh, I think good. I think good. I mean, some of the guys, but I mean, the others should say. I mean, some of those guys haven't gone home. I mean, some of them it's the first time they've ever done winter in Europe. Most of them have been based out in Girona, maybe I think, but no, they're doing good. I think I know it's had maybe a different effect, as in these guys have stayed a bit more focused. You know, they've not had to go home, see so much family, and do this and do that, which they would only do once a year. I mean, they come over to Europe and they're here for the rest of the year. So without having to do that, I mean, of course, it would be nice for those guys to do, but from a bike riding point of view, I think these guys they've come in fit. They're all riding really well. And like I said, the races aren't far away, so it's actually looking good so far.
And what are your goals this year, mate? What are you really going to be targeting?
We're still waiting for the Giro prologue, parcours. Sorry, I don't know if there's a prologue or not. But yeah, I'll do both. I'll do the double banger. I'll do Giro and Tour, and then hopefully the Olympics if I gain selection. But we're just not decided which Grand Tour to target for GC yet.
I saw a yarn on Cycling News just yesterday or the day before where you talked about doing that. But you actually said on there that the Olympics was a thing you were always dreaming of when you were youngster, even more than the Tour de France, and they were really keen to go well in it this year. And it looks to be a course that will suit you. So if you really wanted to target the Olympics, it would really be Giro, Olympics as the main ones, and the Tour you would ride for stages. You would think that's the only way it could work. You couldn't ride for GC on both those and do the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, the problem is also the Tour de France. It doesn't look the route doesn't look great for me. There's a lot of time trial kilometers, a lot of flat stages. I mean, for me, it's not a great race. Which is, I mean, the Giro could also throw up a long time trial or a couple of long time trials, which they normally do. I think more so than the Tour, at least in these last couple of years. So we really have to. That's all. I'm just waiting really. I'm happy with either approach. I'm not I'm not really focused on one approach. So we'll see. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Of course, there's some rumors flying around about the Giro about what the route might take or this and that, but we're always better off waiting, I think.
It was pretty brutal last year, as was the last part of the Vuelta. But you mentioned the time trials, and it's been your sort of your weakest part. But you've improved a lot in recent times. But with the whole COVID and everything, have you had an opportunity to do any more time trial training in the off?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've obviously had to change bike, so I need to organise the position on there to make sure I'm good with that, which is actually coming out really good now. It's taken a bit of time to really fiddle and adjust with the bike and the position of the handlebars, but I'm actually really confident now. Very optimistic that it's going to be a fast bike. Because I mean, every bike is different for everybody. I mean, some bikes are fast for others. I mean, it's easy to say, Lotto Jumbo were flying last year with their time trial bike, but I mean, it's different for everybody. Everybody has a different body shape, and the bike affects that. The rider affects that. But no, we've been doing a lot of testing. I mean, I ride it a lot now anyway. Not like in the past where I would neglect it a lot more. I'll do two, at least maybe three times a week. I would ride the TT bike for maybe 3-4 hours each time. So it's quite a lot, I think. I don't know what other riders do, but I don't shy away from it like I used to.
I was actually manhandling a couple of your bikes today from the old days, because there's a few of the old team bikes that have been sent back, which we're going to be selling on BikeExchange very soon, and a few really your old climbing bikes and one of your time trial bikes. Well, it's got your name on it. I don't know if you actually wrote it or it was just a spare one, but I was having a look at it today. It's a perfect size for me, so I might have to twist Jerry's arm, see if I can sneak it out for myself. Yeah.
You bond to a hot lap, yeah.
If he's having a run-out sale. Hey, before we let you go, you've obviously got some new guys coming into the fold. Kangut, who are some of the other new guys that have joined the team, and how have they slotted in?
Yeah, we've got a couple of young guys. Some of them I'm still not to meet because we're still like in sort of bubbles or this sort of stuff. But a couple of young guys who we're hopeful for. Also the big fella from Lola Jumbo, Armand. We've actually been riding together quite a lot together, and I mean he's really strong. Let me tell you. So no, the dynamics good of the team. Those guys have really slotted well into the team. One guy which I think we keep forgetting about is Andre Zeitz. I mean, so he was already on the team last year, but he's had some health issues last year, which I've not really raced with him. He was scheduled to do most of the racing with me, and before he came to the team, he didn't really speak English. I mean, I can barely speak English as well, but it was obviously a bit different. But obviously, because of lockdown and because of he's had so much time away, he's come back and his English is great now. So really improved that, and he's another strong guy who we'll use in the mountains there. Hopefully helping me, target the Grand Tours.
And I was reading about him last year, and he is a very strong rider, and I expected to see him in helping you last year. What was his problem last year?
I don't know exactly. I don't think I should go into the details that much. I mean, that's for him to say, I think. But yeah, it just kept him out. I mean, he was out for the first part of the season, and then obviously the lockdown happened. There's no racing, and then the illness just continued throughout the rest of the year. I mean, his last race day was Real Sol last year. So that's it's almost over a year now. So it's been a long time, but he's also same thing. He's also a really strong guy. He's riding every day. He wants to do more. He's one of these guys you can just keep going and going. He's just a real tough guy.
And how's Whitey going? He must be like a kid in a candy store now that the training camps are back and he's around the boys and he can smell the bloody tires again.
Yeah, so I hope he's as tired as me because yesterday he actually came out and was riding. We did a recon of stage 1 of Tour of Valencia. The middle part of the stage is quite lumpy, but then it was a flat finish, more for the sprinters, I think. But he jumped out after about an hour. I mean, we did 7, so he must have done almost 6 at least. I don't think he's touched the bike in maybe at least half a year. And he just jumps on, does 6 hours. So I'm assuming he's tired.
He loves it. Well, you're a busy man, Yatesy, and we really appreciate you coming on the potty, the first one for 2021, and we'll be cheering you on this year, mate. You're an absolute superstar, and no doubt there's going to be some big things on the new Bianchi once you get that weight down, mate.
Thanks, guys. No, appreciate you having me on.
No worries, Simon. See you, pal. Bye.
Good on you, mate.
Bye.
Take it easy. There you have it, Simon Yates. Great character to kick off this year, Iffy. Before we sort of wrap things up, it's time to give our sponsors a bit of a plug. Johnny, do you want to kick things off with our great mates at Jayco Caravans?
Well, that's an easy one to do because, we've got, they're one of the major sponsors of the team, of course. There you go. Find my perfect Jayco. And I mean, if you wanted a caravan, where else would you go? Who has been supporting cycling for, 30 years? Jayco. And even if you didn't follow cycling, you want a Jayco because they're the best around. So take out the simplest, get onto the website, check them out, and a wonderful partner of cycling and a major sponsor of the team.
Well, the website's easy to use because you can work out, what sort of van you want depending on your lifestyle, and then they'll find the model for you. It's a pretty easy process. And let's go caravans, Iffy.
Let's go caravans. Well, they're not actually caravans; they're camper vans, mate. But that's pretty close.
Oh, sorry. Jeez. 2021, we're up to a cracker.
Look, what a great partner. And they're have been a sponsor of the team for the last few years. And, of course, there's not many people coming from overseas to grab a Let's Go at the moment, but they are going gangbusters because everyone's decided, you know what, we can't go overseas. Let's go and have a look around our great country of Australia. So Let's Go motorhomes have been roaring out of Tullamarine and the other headquarters around the place, and they're sensational. One of my mates has got one over in Adelaide right at the moment. I'm flying over there to catch up with him tomorrow. I've changed my flight by a day, so I might have to sleep in the top bunk in his Let's Go motorhome tomorrow night because I'm not booked in till the night after. But anyway, we'll worry about that later.
It's not like you to have accommodation issues, John.
I don't know. It'll be fun. It'll all work out in the day, mate. That story will be good. We'll be good.
9 lives, yeah. And Mitchelton Wines, mate.
Well, that's easy. I've just come back from there 2 days ago, and Martin and the guys at the hotel are all, they've been absolutely booked out. I've tried to book a couple of my mates in who are coming up for 3 days midweek, and we're having trouble finding a day.
Yeah, it's because of the podcast.
Of course it is. But so one of Australia's favourite wineries and a place of escape. Experience the history, the beauty, and the serenity of the Goulburn Valley at your own pace. Looking over the vineyards from the iconic tower, staying at the new hotel, relaxing by the pool, recharging in the day spa, where you can quiet the mind, unwind the body, and rediscover your balance in a setting of peace and harmony. Explore the senior menu at the Muse, which is a fantastic restaurant where local produce offers worlds of flavour, and sample their seasonal menu with all wines perfectly paired. Stop by the Providore and tour the cellars, and, of course, taste their highly awarded signature wines. And, as we often mention, it's become the go-to place for weddings and major functions. So there's a happy couple giving a bit of running room there. And, of course, you have to go downstairs and visit the Aboriginal Art Gallery. It is a must. It's world-class with a huge range of amazing pieces and a variety of the nation's best artists. And, of course, there's our favourite, the $10,000 Land Cruiser with the $3.1 million paint job.
She's cracked $3 million for 2021, folks. It will probably get to at least 10 by the end of the year. Now it's time for a quick word from our great mates at Bike Exchange.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match. But not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace, with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Thanks again to our great mates at Bike Exchange, and they're just going to go strength to strength now that they're the naming right sponsors for Team Bike Exchange. Iffy, sky's the limit.
It is, and you know what I really like about it. There's not many teams actually that have a proper bike company involved. You know, there's Trek and a couple of others, but not many. Most of them have got the floor coverings or holiday places or whatever. So I think it's a perfect fit. So if you need a bike, the only one place to go, especially at the moment, you go to a bike shop, there's no bikes in there. You got to jump onto Bike Exchange and you'll get the bike you need.
I've got a few comments. Portia Griffiths says, yes, we ate back. I think that's our back. Simon Evie says, tell me they aren't your Christmas decorations still up, Jonesy. That is correct, but that's not from last Christmas. That's the one before. Just liked them, so I left them up. Carolyn Harbeck says, great interview. Patrick says, hashtag 2022. I think that's from the Social Distance podcast we wrote off this year about 6 months ago, and it has got a bit of a funk to it, 2021, but hey, stay positive. And Carolyn Harbeck says, thanks, boys. Great interview. Listen to it doing the grocery shopping. Now, John, you mentioned before you're going to be heading to Adelaide. What's the plan of attack there, mate?
Well, as team mascot, they need me on board. So I'm flying over tomorrow, Arvo, and I'll be there for start of the race on Thursday. So I plan to grab a few of the guys, have a chat, and we'll do podcasts. If there's something interesting, I'll be on every day. So why not? Let's start with a bang. And we've been missing a bike race, man. I mean, I didn't get to the Tour de France last year, didn't get to the Giro. So, hey, this is the first chance to actually get to a bike race. And look, I think it's going to be fantastic, Dan. I really do. I know it's not the Tour Down Under. I know we haven't got all the big international teams, but we've got some of the best. We've got all the best Australian NRS teams here. We've got Team BikeExchange, so we've got a World Tour team, and we've got the national team with a few Richie Port's riding and a couple of the other big names. So I think it's going to be brilliant. I know that a lot of my mates who have decided to go anyway, so I'm catching up with a whole group of them for dinner tomorrow night.
Is it the same race route as what was originally planned for the Tour Down Under, or have they changed it?
Well, it is a traditional route in some ways. I have changed it a little bit. But we've got the final day will be back to in town around the streets of Adelaide, which it used to do. But they've got Wollonga Hill is the penultimate day. So first day of Thursday is into the Barossa. So they're traditional stages. And because of the change, so they have the guys and the girls will be on the same day. So both of them are a full 4 days. So you'll go the men's race will finish, and then the women's race will start for you straight after that. So it's going to be a wonderful 4 days of racing.
Well, we often talked about, the lack of opportunities for exposure for a lot of these National Road Series riders. I mean, you can't get a better opportunity to get your name out there if you are someone that is riding for, one of the lower ranked teams to get your name up in lights.
Exactly right, mate. And this has been a wonderful opportunity for them. And look, NRS, the depth of NRS racing in the men and the women has really lifted in the last few years. So this is a wonderful chance for them to show their stuff. I know there are some challenges. Some of the New South Wales guys can't get there at the moment because of the whole COVID situation, but that could even change in the next day or so. But I suppose you're running out of time. Only got 2 days, but I think only one team couldn't make it at all, and others were restricted, couldn't put their full team in. But look, it's exciting. I was talking to Stewie only yesterday, and he's ready to go. I know they've got track racing on tonight. They've got a big night at the Velodrome in Adelaide. So it'll be a big week of racing. And
before we let you go, mate, what were the takeaways from the chat with Simon? He seems in a pretty good headspace going into this year.
Yes, well, you and I both know how he hates doing media, but yeah, we're
not with us, mate. We know him pretty well. He used to cut his hair at races.
Yeah, exactly. Look, what I got out of that was he's keen and ready to go. And a lot of riders will say, yeah, they're 100%, but they fudge it a little bit. He's completely over all the COVID stuff. And I already knew that from talking with the team managers, and that with all these numbers, they're really pleased with. So, no, he's excited to go. I think he's looking forward to a little bit of a challenge of racing against his brother in a few races. But I reckon he will really target the Giro and the Olympics, and he'll race the Tour, but I reckon he'll target the Giro because with the way the season's looking, and the Tour de France looks, it's not. I don't think the Tour de France is a race that he could win this year, but the Giro is. So why wouldn't you target that? We haven't seen the root of it yet, but we know he can. He almost won it a couple of years ago. He was red hot favourite last year, and he won the Vuelta just a couple of years ago as well. So we know he's capable. He's definitely got another Grand Tour win in him, and let's hope it's in 2021.
Do you think, in your honest opinion, and you're going to have to call it as you see it, I know we're sponsored by Bike Exchange, but do Team Bike Exchange have the manpower to compete with your Vismas and your Ineoses, these super teams with, 4 or 5 superstars on the front to protect their GC riders? Will they have to make a call to go, on paper, I don't think we're going to win the GC. We'll have to go for stages, or do you still believe that, any dog has its day in the GC battle?
Well, look, you've got 2 things you've raised there. There's Jumbo and there's Ineos. Okay, and no one else has really got that sort of firepower to ride the way that they have done. But then again, what happened to Tour de France this year? Pogacar, they went into, as Alan Piper said, they rode into Paris in their slippers because they didn't have to do all that stuff on the front. So you got to be smart. Look, the Tour de France, especially with the time trials and the long flat stages, I don't think they have got the team to win that one this year, but they can definitely win the Giro or the Vuelta. So that's my honest opinion. And we'll see. We haven't even seen the race release for the Giro course yet. It's coming up very soon. But it's always hard. It's always really steep climbs, and they're just what suits Simon down to the ground. So, looking forward to it.
Geez, it must be hard for race organisers trying to get towns on board with sponsorship and stuff with so many unknowns with COVID and, the old model where you'd get a bag full of cash to run through the town. I mean, that would have surely dried up a lot in 2021.
Well, the difference is, in the past, I'll do some vision here for those who are listening on podcasts who won't know, but normally the mayor of the town would be like that in the praying, please come to us at the praying, and now they're going, stay away in some of the places. So it is a challenge. But look, the sport is doing it well. I thought they did a real good job with the Vuelta. They learned as they went. I thought the Tour was really badly done in lots of ways, especially with the amount of people on the mountains and no masks, all of that. It must have been a disaster not for so much the people in the bubble of the race, but just the general public then taking off around the rest of Europe and spreading that COVID. And they got a bit better with the Giro, and they nailed it with the Vuelta. And now they've learnt. So it's a tough year. I mean, we're complaining about things here in Australia, and really, we've hardly got a COVID case anywhere, except for the tennis players. But Europe, it's still absolutely horrific. In Britain, when you look at 1,000 people dying in one day, bloody hell, that's staggering. Same in the US, and most of Europe is really, really struggling. Italy, northern part of Spain, Holland, and Belgium have a serious problem. So the fact that they're going to run bike races is pretty amazing, and they're going to have to run it. They're running them without crowds in the early days, so they're just for television and for the fans.
And if any man can get sponsors for the Giro, it's our man Joe Pesci. So now, as we always say, if you want to stay on top of notifications, so when Johnny gets his act together at the Tour Down Under and does all these fantastic interviews, you want to be there live so you can comment on the show as it happens. So youtube.com/the Detour podcast, tick on subscribe and tick on notifications, and you'll stay on top of that. Spread the word about the show, because we're back in 2021 and we're going to develop a regular schedule very soon, Johnny, as we build up to the season getting underway in 2021. But it was a great show to kick things off, mate. Any final words before we go?
Look, I'm really looking forward to this year. Hopefully I can get over to the Tour of the Giro, but it's looking less and less likely all the time. But one thing we learned this year, Dan, we did such a good job covering all those Grand Tours that we almost felt like we were there. And it was probably harder work than when we were over there. but one way or another, we'll be covering all the major cycling events and keeping all our great fans and friends up to speed with everything that's going on and behind the scenes.
And we may have a very big fish in the next couple of weeks in terms of cyclists. We are working and trying to get very close to securing, which could be the biggest interview we've done on the detour so far. But stay tuned for that. We've just got to go through a mate of a mate of a mate who knows a next door neighbour who knows this bloke. So we should be right.
It's almost like that, but yes, I think we'll get him. I think we'll get him very, very soon.
All right. Stay tuned. Thanks again for tuning into the Detour Live, and we'll be back shortly with John's exclusive interviews for the Santos Tour Down Under. And for sure, you're going to chat to the likes of Richie Port and all the biggest names from Team BikeExchange, and we'll see you then.